Hey, what is up, all y'all good people? It is Kimberly Bryant with the Pop Culture Green Room. And look who I have with me today. I've got our guest co-host, Wendi J. What is up, Wendi?
Hey guys.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, Blair's out sick. She's under the weather, but it's okay because we've got Wendi here. So
We'll get through it. We'll get through it. We can gossip. We know. We've gossiped enough in the past. We can get through some stuff.
I know, which is so glad. I'm so glad we finally made it because today has been like so crazy for the both of us, like trying to get lined up. Like I would have thought that like Mercury was in retrograde by the way the day's going, but I don't think that's happening right now. What's going on?
I don't know, but we've literally been trying to do this for, well, what are we at? 5 o'clock?
We're at
I mean, we've been
mhm.
talking about this since what, 7:30, 8 o'clock my time this morning. So yeah.
Hours. But look, we're finally here to do the damn thing, so I'm happy. We made it, and that is all that matters.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to get here and start. Oh my gosh, because it's been so crazy, and I'd rather like let my hair down and talk about what is going on in pop culture right now. And one of the things I noticed it's actually been consuming me. It's actually so true crime. I've kind of stayed away from it because anxiety, but
There's enough, crazy criminal stuff happening on a daily basis in our government that we don't need to binge watch true crime anymore because we're like, oh,
right.
well, just read the regular news.
That's very true. That is so true. You are not lying. Oh my gosh. But and speaking of which, there's a bunch of pardons recently. Like as of like what was it yesterday? Yesterday. We had the
Ooh,
Chrisleys, NBA young
can you
boy.
believe it? The freaking really with these people. Now, look, let me be very clear, by the way. I don't wish them ill.
Mm,
I never watched the show, but I'm familiar with who they are as a couple. I kind of followed along for the trial and stuff. I'm not saying that they're evil people, but when you commit tax fraud at that kind of level, you deserve to be in the nice little white collar prison
I,
that you're. It's not like they're in a maximum security facility. Freaking
right.
pardoned.
Yeah. I
I couldn't
agree. And
believe
it's like,
it.
but I have to also say that Joe Biden also pardoned who he wanted to pardon, and now Donald Trump gets to pardon who he wants to pardon, and
Yeah,
it's just it's very interesting to me. It looks like it's basically like whoever you like, you can, if you rule the world, you can, or rule the country, you can do whatever you want. It
yeah.
seems so.
I will say though, it's very telling that our current president has decided to pardon an older white couple who committed tax fraud. Whereas I feel like truly, if it was one of his sons, I don't think he'd pardon his own son. I think that man would
Oh,
pardon
yeah.
his fellow rich friends over his family. And not that what Biden didn't do was shady, but like at least
Mm,
that man was keeping it in the family. Like if I'm going to if I'm going to do something kind of shady when I have that kind of power, at least let people be like, well, she was so shady. She took care of her family. Not like she was so shady. She took care of some fellow rich white people. There is a lesser of two evils here, right? It's really a lesser of two evils thing.
oh, it really is. It's oh my gosh. I don't it is what it is. I don't even know what else to say. There's that, but that is the other thing that's been really just it consumes my head. It's the one case, the one true crime case. It's the Asha Degree case, the disappearance of Asha Degree. So if you're not familiar with it, she disappeared. It was the year 2000, Valentine's Day actually. She was 9 years old. And she shared a bedroom with her, and she lived in Shelby, North Carolina. She shared a bedroom with her brother Bryant, and her mom and dad. Her dad was away at work. Her mom, I want to say, like got up early in the morning, around like 5 o'clock in the 5:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning to check on her, and she was gone. So there were witnesses. There were supposedly like some eyewitnesses, who allegedly had seen her like on the side of the highway, and it kind of startled them and of course caught them off guard because they're like, what is this child doing on the side of the road, on the side of the highway, like it's, dark hours and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And both witnesses, I want to say, saw her running into the woods. It's like a wooded area.
I was gonna
And
say,
it
is that a
was,
rural area where she
yeah, it
disappeared
was kind
from?
of like a rural area. Yeah. And so I want to say it was like a month later, her backpack was found, but I didn't even know until recently. I thought that her backpack was just found like out in like a building, but her backpack was found like in a plastic bag. And inside of her backpack was a library book that she had checked out that was past due, and a New Kids on the Block T-shirt. But the T-shirt was not her T-shirt; it didn't belong to her, and I didn't find that out until I didn't know that until just recently. So that's come out, and then apparently I forgot what year it was. It was. Let me see. Let me look up.
Now here's okay. So because you said she disappeared in 2000, right?
Uh huh.
And she was 9 years old, so that would have put her born in 91.
Mm-hmm.
So she's around my brother's age, and definitely my brother is is too young for new kids, right? Because like by the
Mm-hmm.
time the early 90s was coming through, I mean, I feel like by the mid 90s, new kids was kind of they were the older boy band on the block, right? So that's very strange that a 9 year old girl had a New Kids on the Block t-shirt in her backpack, because that's a little too, that would not have been her boy band of choice. She
No.
would have
Yeah.
been
Exactly.
Backstreet or NSYNC.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh yeah. And this is where, yeah, this comes into play. So it was actually, it looks like it was okay. Yeah. So her belongings were found. Yeah, it was actually the next day. So her belongings were found. So it was okay. It was in 2000. So it was a year later. In 2001, August of 2001 was when her book bag was discovered, and it was at a construction site. And what happened was, it was like a construction worker had found it, and he took it home. And his wife, whenever she looked at it, looked through it, she saw the name and was just up in arms because, and like beside herself, because she was following the case and recognized the name. And then that's how from there, they notified the authorities. So that's what happened. So, in 2015, the FBI apparently they reopened the case and they offered a $25,000 reward.
Okay.
And between 2020 and 2021, two leads were revealed. Apparently, some supposed witness sightings, and one of them was tied to a dark green car, and supposedly somebody saw her getting pulled into a green car. Was one of the sightings that came out into fruition, and or well, came out in the open. And something else came out that it was like a friend of theirs. Okay, this is what happened. So this is, I don't have this here in the notes, but I'll give you what I know so people don't crucify me if I'm wrong. There's this family called the I think it's like the Deadman family
Okay.
from North Carolina. However it is, the DNA to the shirt matched one of the girls,
Okay, so
like
that's what
that,
I was about to
and
ask. Did they DNA test that T-shirt? And they did. Okay.
yeah, to one of the family members. But there was also DNA for some other man or whatever that belonged to it. But however, there's this family that the DNA was attached to. They have a history of owning an older green model car. And they have they I think own like some kind of like almost like a nursing home type of facility, like some kind of like hospice type of facility. And they were known to, I think, to transport patients and everything back and forth. Well, it was, I wanna say it was, like, last year, a year ago maybe, somebody came forward, and it was, like, a male, like I said, it was, like, a guy that was friends with a group of girls. He came forward and said that this girl had said, like, years ago, they were at a party, and she was really drunk, and she said that she had killed Asha Degree, and that her sister was at the same party, and that her sister, who was, like, notoriously, like, quiet and, like, really just kinda keeps to herself, ran over to her sister and, like, grabbed her or hit her, said something like and said, like, "Shut the fuck up." Like in his words, and that just startled
Yeah.
everybody. And that's the DNA belongs to like one of the
One of the
sisters in
sisters.
that family. And then text messages had come out and were released recently, and it's a text exchange between members of that family. and the girl who they believe that did the who allegedly could have killed Asha Degree, like texting her ex-husband and stuff and saying how it's like they've been speaking with the authorities and stuff and speaking with lawyers and how like right now the narrative that the lawyers say that is that the one of the sisters, one of the daughters that killed the girl. But my theory is that like it's oh my gosh, you'd have to check out like Reddit and look at the news stations because right now
I was gonna
they
say
have
you're
they
gonna
up
have me downloading Reddit to my phone again. I deleted the Reddit app off it. That is
oh
it's a dangerous rabbit hole to go down because there's so much stuff
yeah
on
it
it.
is
So I
it's so
deleted it
crazy but it's
off to keep myself, but
yeah
now I'm about
and
to be
it's
like, okay, I gotta get
yeah, and it like the case, it's so wild because I'm like, it was so bizarre to me because I'm like, how did this girl like just disappear? You know, just like out of nowhere. Like
With the
she just
daughters, what are the ages of the daughters? Would they have been
okay, yeah, at the
around
time,
her?
yeah, yeah. So at the time, like the oldest I think was 16. The
Mhm.
and then the second oldest I think was like 15 or 14, and then like the youngest was like 13 or something or 12. It was like they were all like they were in that teenage
Kind of in
age.
that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then they start talking about in a chain that text message exchange they're talking about like saying something like they found a shirt. Do you remember that shirt? I don't know. And then they were saying something about how their dad is like basically saying that their dad was gonna get implicated or whatever, or like it was like a suspect, and how they're stressing out. It's crazy, it's wild because it's like it seemed like the theory that I have is that I think that one of the daughters hit and killed the girl by accident and then it told the parents, and then the dad, instead of going to law enforcement, like got rid of the child's
Got rid
body.
of the
That's what I
body.
think. And
Crazy. So she was out. She had left the house of her own volition.
yeah,
You think?
and no one knows why.
Yeah.
It was so bizarre because she didn't seem to have like any kind of issues or anything. It seems like it doesn't seem like she was abducted. It seemed like
So
she left
crazy.
her home.
Right? Yeah. And I mean, I feel like if it was an abduction, they would have found, I mean, especially like right around that time, I mean, like late 90s, early 2000s. I
Mhm.
mean, there were some interesting kidnapping cases going on around then, right?
Right, right, yeah. And then
So I
mhm.
feel like, I mean, the first thing they would have done, whether they like to admit it or not, I'm just like when if a wife disappears, the husband is always like the primary suspect if there's a husband involved, right?
Right. Oh,
Um,
for sure. Yeah.
the family was probably looked at pretty closely, so they would have been able to rule out like a kidnapping. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah,
she's so young. I
definitely.
mean, she was too young to
Oh
be
yeah, for
friends
sure.
with the
Let's see, I'm gonna bring
sisters.
something up right now. Huh?
I said, well, she was too young to be friends with the sisters.
Right,
So
exactly. So that's why, yeah, yeah, she was definitely too young. Yeah, definitely too young to be friends with them. Let's see here. So let's see here. I want to share my screen really quickly just to
okay.
kind of give you like a little idea. Share screen. Okay, here we go. But it's just it's so crazy because I mean, for years and years when I first heard of it, like 10 years ago is when I first heard of the case, it was just so bizarre to me. And I'm like, what in the world happened? And the last thing I ever heard was about that green car. Like and that's actually why I heard about it almost 10 years, about 10 years ago, because there was an update. The update was that they were looking for people who had information about a green car or whatever. So oh look, here we go. It's let's see. Are you able to see? All right,
I was, and
so
then it disappeared.
it looks like they're playing a little clip here. Let me see. They might.
Oh, there we go.
On to God. Oh, in the midnight hour when we begin to cry, Father, we gotta look at you, God, and say, God, help us through this.
Can you tell me a little bit about the community that you have here and that you had before her disappearance?
We was normal family. They played sports. We went to practice. We went to games. So we still basically had the same community because half of the children that he went to church with is who we graduated with.
let's see here. I'm going to, but yeah, I know that recently they've increased the award. The FBI, they've increased the award to $75,000 because I think what it is they're just trying to get. I think they're just trying to get somebody to talk
Yeah.
in order for them, I think, to make an arrest. It seems because you know how like they do that. They play, you know, close to the vest.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I saw that there was a sentence that mentioned advanced technology, and I will say I appreciate. Obviously, we know that our law enforcement system is quite flawed in this country. But I appreciate that as new advancements have come along, because 25 years ago when she first disappeared, DNA would have not been used for every case because it wasn't advanced enough to be. I mean, it was taking months and months and months still, I believe, at that point, 25 years ago. It's not like it is today. And like you said, you've read
Right.
so much of it on
Well, yeah,
Reddit,
1,000%.
right? I mean, the world of the internet
Hmm.
sleuth, which does have an ugly side to it, also has a really great side to it where
So,
people don't even have to leave their homes and they're helping solve crimes just because they're really good at doing internet detective work. So, I mean, I'm glad that they're getting her name and
very
her
down.
case and their facts back out there. And I will say, I think you've got a point, right? They've increased the reward, which makes them think, right? It's kind of like if you're fishing and you know that the lake you're in has a lot of
Hmm.
fish, you might be like, okay, look, maybe one little piece of bait on the hook isn't enough, but I know there are fish here. So if I put a little
Right.
extra on there, I'm going to get somebody's attention, you
Hmm.
know?
Right, exactly. And that's usually what law enforcement does. So I feel like sooner than later, I really feel like I really feel like this summer they're going to make an arrest because
Yeah.
the fact that they've released the text messages, of like that came out, like I can't, I don't have time right now to find it, but I'll have to go back and look at it. And the next time we meet up again, we'll have to like, um, go through, but it's interesting. And where they did the search at was I think it was yeah, before it was like I think November, December, they searched it was that family's property. And that's why that family's name it's kind of been going around because that family used to own that property that they were searching on just recently.
What?
So it's
Yeah.
interesting. But like I said, well, I'll definitely keep us updated on it for sure.
Yeah. Because I would say, like, if you
Um
look at it, if the oldest daughter at the time was like 15 or 16 when it happened, and then a year later she's at a party and she's drinking,
mhm,
look, right? I mean, early 2000s
mhm,
teenagers, you and I were of, we weren't quite that young. I mean, look, we weren't much older, but
right.
we were older teenagers in the early, in that 2000 2001 era because like I graduated high school in
Yeah, for sure.
2001, right? So I was 17, 18 years old in
Mhm,
2001. Now I was scared to death of my mother. So the one time that I would consider having snuck out of the house, it wasn't even a sneak out. I really was staying at the
right.
night at my friend's house, but she didn't have the same curfew I did. My mom just didn't know that.
Oh,
But like,
oh, got it. Hmm.
think about it. If you've got two sisters that are like 15, 16 years old, you're in a rural area. What are they
Huh?
doing? They might be out. They might have gone to a house party or a field party.
See,
Very
that's
much they
I
could
was
have hit this
mhm.
girl and hurt her because they were maybe drinking and driving.
See, that's
Yeah, I
exactly
think
what
you're
I
onto
think
something.
happened. But it's right, that's what I think happened because it was Valentine's Day. The parents probably let them go out for Valentine's Day because it was because I wanna say it was like a weeknight. I think it was like I think believe it was a weeknight back then. And, that's what I think happened, and it to me, it makes sense, just like you said,
Yeah.
it's that's a good theory.
I mean, and I'll tell you what, it makes you wonder if they think that people close to these girls might have heard things, right? Like if they talked at one party when they were
Mhm.
drinking, they probably talked at other parties over the year, and
Oh, for
especially what do
sure.
they always say? Like if you're going to commit a crime, you should probably do it by yourself because the minute you commit a crime with
Mhm.
someone else, now you've got to worry about those other people opening their mouths. So if one of the
Mhm.
sisters has been running her mouth over the years, yeah, they might
Yep.
be thinking like one of those friends knows something and has been holding on to it and needs to like come forward. Girl, that is wild. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
and
hope
that's
they
and
get a
the guy
conclusion.
I know, and the guy I wanna say his name was Thad, and the guy that that came forward to law enforcement recently and talked to them, they did a polygraph, he passed with flying colors.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh wow. And I mean, look, it really, if you're looking at your rural kind of small town America, you and I have both spent time in those small towns. You said the
Right.
parents owned like a hospice or like an elderly care facility. For
Hmm.
the area that they lived in, they were probably considered higher income, right? And look,
Oh,
you and
for
I
sure.
went to school
Hmm.
with those kids, and the
Yep.
kids whose parents had a little more money when we were like the average working class, those were the troublemakers, right? Those were the kids that were
Hmm.
off doing stuff, sneaking out, drinking, doing all the things,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
100%. This
100%.
could have been a situation where, and how many times did you or I watch the parents of the troublemakers defend them or cover up their actions? Oh,
Oh, a lot, all the time.
now wouldn't it be
Now,
wouldn't
still
it be the
now, I say.
scandal for one of the family members to come forward and be like, you know what, we've been holding this secret all the time and I'm over it, and just like spill the beans.
Mm.
Mm.
It's funny because it almost seems like in the text message discussion, it seemed like one of the daughters wanted to do something, but they don't say what. And they kind of imply that they should have let her do what she wanted to do, like back then or something like that. It's really it's interesting because it's like, what is going on? I'm like, what the fuck? Like I'm really like I'm into it.
Mm.
I'm glad. Like I said, I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled and definitely keep talking about that. But
Girl, you're about to have me
um,
getting on Netflix again and start, because look, there's some good true crime stuff on Netflix, and I will say, Hulu's
mm,
had some good true crime series too. I feel like I don't know if you got into it like I did. I think a lot of people did during the pandemic. I was never like I like a good true crime. I've always been more of a, like, if I'm
oh,
gonna watch something like that, I would always like the paranormal series. But
oh
in the
yeah,
pandemic, we obviously all blew through basically every streamer service,
everything.
and and eventually I came up and was like, oh, there are a lot of good, like, kind of the mini docu-series that Netflix does where they'll do them in like 3 or 4 parts. And they talk
Mhm.
about, oh my gosh, the one that I watched on Netflix that's actually really crazy interesting was the art museum heist that happened in Boston.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard about that one. I haven't seen it yet. It's
Oh yeah,
good.
that's actually, I think that's like a 3-parter, and I got to tell you, that's probably one of the best things I've watched on Netflix. And yeah, that
Oh,
was a
okay.
good one. Yeah. So you're gonna have me back on my true crime kick again. I love it.
It's so weird because like lately, like you know what it is? There's the my reality shows have just kind of been like on a slump. And the only things I'm really watching right, well, I've been slowly going through Real Housewives, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because I'm trying to savor it, which I'm doing. I'm doing a great
Yeah,
job at that. I'm really enjoying it this season.
good, good.
I can't wait for us
I
to
will
cover
say I haven't
that.
started it yet, but I have not strayed away from reading any of the spoilers. So I've definitely seen some articles and some clips and some insights. I mean, I'm going to watch it regardless, but I'm definitely not afraid of
Uh-huh.
spoilers. And it seems like this season's pretty scandalous so far.
Yeah, definitely. It is. And what's so funny to me is it's like I honestly thought that I would go into, which I did. I went into season 2 not being a Whitney fan, like because it's just it is what it is. That's at the time. I wasn't
Yeah.
a big fan of Whitney, but I'm trying to figure out how but this happened with a lot of people apparently. It's like their dislike for Whitney shifted to she became likable this season. Anyway, in some ways, because she became likable. And then Demi pretty much became the villain. So I don't want to like spoil it too much, but like I said, I'm on episode 6 right now.
Okay.
So I'll still have got 7 and 8 left for season 2.
I have heard that. I will say I've seen like 1 or 2 clips where, and obviously I'm not even seeing the real episodes, right? And editing is editing, whether it's the episode or a
Mhm.
clip for the episode. But I feel like I've seen 1 or 2 clips so far where Demi definitely seems like the instigator in the situation. And
Right.
it
Yeah.
seems interesting. I have also heard that the editing this season is kind of putting more spotlight on the men, because I will say I'm
Oh.
definitely reading a lot of comments about the husbands, and it seems like
Hmm.
production did a really good job of being like, hey, I mean, the ladies are scandalous, but have you seen these husbands?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The men are definitely in there. That's for sure. They've got them in there. They're working them into the storylines. But, so which is very, very interesting, for sure.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that it's Miranda, I believe is her name, the new girl. I actually like her. She's the one that
the she was the
that
husband of one of the, or she was the wife involved in like the main couple with the swinging
With
scandal,
Taylor,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
and her ex-husband, yeah. So she's on now, and I like her being there. I really like her character. Oh, her character.
And then is it true
That
that
she
the
is.
girl that was potentially sleeping with who's baby daddy? Oh my gosh, what's Taylor's baby daddy's name? Crazy Eyes.
Um,
I can only
I
think of
can't
him.
remember. Not the one that she's with now. Is it Austin? What's not Austin?
I
I
can't
forgot
even
his
think of
name.
his name. All I
Andrew is
can
who
think of
she's
is
with
his
now.
eyeballs,
Yeah,
right?
Andrew's who she's with now.
His crazy eyeballs in the Vegas episode from last season, where you're just like, this dude is on something. But he right, he definitely was like hoeing around a little bit when they first started dating, and I
Yeah,
feel
but
like that
it
girl
was.
makes an appearance too, right?
I think it's you know what? I gotta go back and watch them because some of the episodes I watched, I was actually like kind of editing at the same time. Because there is a girl that does show up. I can't remember who she's attached to though. So maybe that's who it is. But they're like, I want to say there's a girl like at the Halloween party that shows up that I don't even know who she is. And
Okay.
I think that's who you're referring to.
Yep. Okay. Well, see, look, and I'm glad. I will say, I'm glad that the husbands are getting more attention because here's the thing: these ladies catch flack. They just know how to make good TV, right? They knew how to be
Mm,
good social media presence, which turned into good reality TV. Which you never know.
right.
That was a bet that a production team had to take. These girls make good TV.
Hmm.
Right? We all love it. We're hooked. But
For sure.
I do like that the men are getting a little more attention this season because I feel like they are definitely the more scandalous ones of the group. Like I will say, the
Hmm.
rumors and the concern around the whole Jace and the age thing and a 15-year-old and a 21-year-old. Like I'm glad that people are like, hey, don't forget about this. Can we talk about this 21 year
Right.
old man knocking up a 15-year-old girl? Like,
I'm so glad you said that because there was actually a TikToker I found. I can't remember his name, but he I was responding to his post he made because he said, let's talk about the real scandal here. And that's what he was saying. He goes, let's talk about the fact that this 15-year-old girl got pregnant by a 21-year-old guy. And not only that, but it's like the fact that now what's coming out in season 2 is the fact that like she was like, assaulted, sexually assaulted growing up.
yeah,
And I'm like, and then she goes into the arms of a 21-year-old that gets knocked up. I'm like, that's predatory behavior. I'm like, come on.
yeah. Or Zach's gambling. Like, let's put these men and their business out there, right?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
not that the women are innocent, but one of the big things we know about the Mormon church is they like to keep their ladies under their thumb. So, like, if you want to
Mhm.
start showing some stuff up, like, show the problematic behavior of the men. And they can try to dodge it all they want, but we all know because I don't know if you got into into the subreddits last year, but after I watched season 1, I got into the subreddits and I went down a rabbit hole on Zach's gambling problem, and
Oh,
it
really?
is
Okay.
a problem. Like, you
I figured
know,
it was. I kind of figured it
yeah,
was like a bad problem.
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So I got to start watching it. My thing is, I'm afraid that I won't be able to throttle myself and enjoy it like you're doing because I think I watched season 1 across maybe like 2 different weekends. Like I ate
Oh,
all of
yeah.
those episodes up
Mhm.
so fast.
Girl, I had to force myself to stop watching it. Like I was like, okay, I'll watch one episode and stop. And then when I saw myself going into 2 episodes and almost 3, I was like, I
Yeah,
was
one at a
stop.
time, one at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just didn't want that, to go away. But the good thing was that we have the Valley. The Valley's back. So I'm able to well, actually the Valley was back before that, but I'm able to kind of like mix that in. So are you watching the Valley by chance?
I'm not watching The Valley, but I'm familiar with all the players, right? Because
Right.
I was a Vanderpump, fan in the earlier
Right,
years
for
of the
sure.
show, like back in the day before she started. That's kind of how I like when Vanderpump Villa came around. I was like, I might be like down to watch this. Feels like old school like Sir vibes, but
Right.
I'm not watching The Valley, but again, it's one of those things where I'm familiar with all the characters and I see
Mhm.
all the snippets and stuff. So I know there's some
Yeah.
stuff going on this year with that, right?
Right, there is. So there were rumors that's been floating all over the place that Jax was being fired or that he has been fired. But apparently, let's see here. Let me go. I'm going to share my screen again because I've got this here. This is from Reality T. Here we go. Now let's see what we've got. So they were saying how was Jax Taylor fired from the ballet? Dun dun dun. I'm like, was he? And basically they're saying, maybe he's kind of a semi monster, or maybe he's a monster. I don't know. I'm just kind of paraphrasing it my way, but that he has not been fired, that he is still on the show. Because what it was, he went to rehab. He checked into rehab. Like he and Brittany, it's their whole marriage has just been a mess. And I think that they were just probably one of those couples that just had to get married in order to break up. Because it does happen a
Yeah,
lot.
look, they've never even in
Um,
their best of years, they've still been
let's see
very toxic for
here.
each other. So I'm glad for both of them that they have realized they are not good together. Oh wow, okay. Oh no, I can't hear you anymore. Can you hear me? I lost the audio. Oh
Okay.
no. Oh,
What
there
about?
you
Can
are
you hear me
again.
now?
Now I can. You're back. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, and it said the whole time. Look at it, said Mike was muted. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how that happened, but it's like my internet connection's like it sucks right now. It's I've actually I was trying to hardwire my internet. I got an Ethernet cable. I just forgot to get the adapter to set everything up properly. So here I am on this shitty Wi-Fi. It work. Oh, I hate it. Headsets, headsets. Couples they have to. Some couples I feel like they have to get married in order to break up. And I guess that's what he and Brittany had to do. But to me, it's like I'm kind of like, girl, the writings were on a wall for a long time and everybody said it. Like it's
Yeah,
but
I
I don't
think
know. Like who
honestly,
am I
I
to
think them
judge? Because
getting
when you want
married
somebody,
was
you want
this.
somebody.
Right, that's the thing. And I think, look, unfortunately, there are a lot of women, and you and I have talked about this off to the side so many times. We've been talking about this for many years, probably as long as we've been friends, that especially women at a certain age, and especially us, we came up in primo rom-com. Doesn't matter how crazy the story is, the girl always gets the fairy tale at the end movies. And some women that really, oh no, I lost you. Oh, well, it's just me. And I feel like maybe I should vamp. Christopher, hi. You can come over here too.
Girl, I'm sorry, my internet my
You're okay. It kept recording. So if you want to, I've got me and Goose and a little vamping
I love it.
because
There
it
we
just
go.
kept me right in.
Yes. I was still recording, so thank goodness. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
You're awesome. Yep, you went had the vamping going. I love it.
I was
I
like,
love it.
I was like,
Yes.
oh no, she's gone. Oh, it's still recording. What do I do?
Thank you. You're the best. It's like it's just oh my like I said, this Wi-Fi thing, it sucks. I was so happy because I was proud of myself. I was like, I'm finally gonna get this nailed before I move. And then what happens? I forgot to get the little dangle thing, and I'm like, or dongle, whatever it's called, to like, but
do the converting. Yeah,
I'll work on that for next week. I'm like, oh my gosh.
that's a
But yes,
nesting problem,
it looks
right?
like oh yeah. But yeah, like, it seemed like the valley had just kind of went for like a dark turn for a minute, and just all these issues and these problems. It was kind of like not really that fun to watch. But I will say this week when I watched it, I was glad to see Lala, Tom Schwartz, and Sheena made an appearance. And it's rumored that, and Brock also, I think they're actually joining. It's rumored that they're joining the cast next season. So I could see that. I believe that.
I mean, I think we're about to have a reckoning, and we're kind of starting to see it with reality TV. And I saw an article
Mhm.
somewhere. I don't know if I saw it. I really feel like it was an article that I saw maybe on like Us Weekly or like People. I really feel like it was an article. It might have been like an Instagram reel, but
Mhm.
people are talking about how we're kind of seeing a turn of the tides with reality TV again, where
Right.
it was this shock and awe. And I mean, you and I came up heavy in the early days of reality TV, where it was, MTV had Real World, and then we got into VH1 and all of their different like love competitions
Mhm.
and OOOG Real Housewives stuff. And all of it got really dramatic and was thriving off of chaos and fights and craziness. And look, Bravo cashed in on that. We've watched as different seasons of Real Housewives have gotten crazier and crazier and crazier, to the point where the fans were like, we kind of missed the old
Right.
days with Real Housewives of Orange County, where we watched Vicky and Jenna like
Mhm.
doing insurance. Like, we didn't mind normal
You're right.
reality
Yeah,
TV, guys. Like, where you follow
exactly.
cameras
And that's
around.
what it is. Mhm. You're right. And people, they're having that nostalgia. So it's kind of like they're wanting to see that familiarity back. And it's just, and like I said, even with the housewives. So it's just, and they're realizing that the mistake they may have made was with New York, that they probably should have blended some of the old cast with the newcomers instead of just doing a whole entire brand new cast, because it was just rough to follow. Because like none of them, those women were like friends with each other. They were all like already like influencers pretty much in their own right. So it was kind of like it was hard to like the second season. I just really couldn't get into it. So,
Yeah.
but I will say I am glued on. I'm still hooked on the Valley, even though it is a little dark. I'm still watching it. So it's keeping me entertained.
I mean, it's people that we've known and followed for years, right? And so I think there's a
Hmm.
sense of you want to see these people do well. And look, it's the same reason why, although I will say we're seeing a different spin on it, it's the same reason why we enjoy seeing Spencer back in some of the reality TV competition
Hmm.
shows now, because there's nostalgia for us. Now
Right.
we know outside of the show that he is an
Exactly.
amazing person, and he just knows how to play a good reality TV villain, especially in a competition show.
Hmm.
But we know now
Right.
because
Yeah.
we've seen the human side of him. And I think it's been a
Hmm.
very good thing for these shows to go, okay, look, now that they know how amazing these two people are, let's get them back in front, because they make good TV. But we also know that it's just part of a game, and it's not
Hmm.
actual bad, because I think at the end of the day, as humans, even if we like a little drama, there's enough craziness in the world right now as it is. We still want a good
Exactly.
news story. And I think why
Hmm.
you're still into the Valley and kind of trying to follow it through the arc is because these are people that we've watched from, their early 20s, who are
Right. Yeah.
now in relationships and having kids and going through
Hmm.
struggles. And we want to see them do well.
Exactly. It's like we saw them as children pretty much. Well, like as kids, like they went to Hollywood to become like actors, and they were trying to pursue their jobs and their careers in Hollywood, and then their reality show ended up becoming really popular, and then they ended up becoming like reality stars. So, but I like you said, we're just watching the facets of their life, like just watching them develop, and
Yeah.
I really enjoy seeing them become parents and settling down and having these other responsibilities, and like they're not like in bars like fighting with each other and everything. It's different issues, and I like seeing that and getting that. So
Yeah.
that is something that just keeps me going. But oh yeah, but on a final note, next week I've got coming, I'm super excited. And finally, we're gonna drop the episode with comedian Jim Cober where she and I get in the kitchen and we make boudin Pop-Tarts.
You know,
So
I
I
can't
love
wait for this.
boudin.
I am so excited, right? Because, like, look, my genre
Mhm.
of reality TV is the cooking shows. A lot of the
Yes,
folks I watch on YouTube, cooking vlogs. So, as soon as you told me about this episode, I was so excited. Obviously, I got a little sneak peek. Don't tell everyone,
I know
but I'm
that you
super
did.
excited because I know they turned out great. And I'm super excited to see the whole episode and how you guys made everything.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm like it was so much fun. And I think I just had like a little bit of trouble with the camera angles because you just, trying to run around and get everything set up. Like at one point, like where you could see it's like holding up the food, but I forgot to kind of angle the camera down like at the counter. And then I tried to shoot with two different camera angles, and then it came together. It all came together, and I'm very happy about it. But she's actually on her international tour right now, so it's a perfect time for the episode to come out. So it'll be great though. It's like I said, it's fun, not quite safe for work because she's a comedian. So I mean, like expect that. We had
Yeah.
to have fun, goof off. I loved it. So, but I'm
Mhm.
stoked. So that'll be next Tuesday it drops. So
I'm
I am happy about that.
excited. And
Hmm.
if that's received well, I can't wait to get out there to come visit you. We need to get an Airbnb with a good little kitchen, and then we need to
Right?
cook something together and drop that
I
episode.
know. Oh my gosh, I know, you're right, like, for sure, like, we would have to do that,
Yeah.
100%. Oh my gosh. But on that note, y'all, we have to thank Wendi big time because she jumped in on a clutch because Blair, like, poor thing was in the ER last night, and so I was like, "Don't even worry about coming here and, like, filming. We'll just, figure it out." So
I mean, look,
and
we gossip and chit chat back and forth all day anyway, so
we
it's
do,
nothing for
and
us to get
you're
on camera and just record it.
exactly, you're right, and we pretty much talk about this, so, like, that's why you said let's we get this
Yeah.
is
This is
besides, like,
truly just
this and
us
work
capturing how we talk through the day. Because what's funny is we mostly go back and forth these days in voice notes because both of us have so much stuff going on. It's a lot easier. So
exactly.
you could probably put together just a podcast, like an audio only podcast with no video of just our voice notes because
Oh,
we
yeah.
gossip about this stuff all day, y'all. We'll literally be like, wait, did you see such and such in the news? Did
Mhm.
you see the Diddy case update? Like, wait, did you see so
Uh-huh.
and so broke up? Like, we're constantly gossiping to get through the day.
You're right, that's exactly what we do, like, I mean, we are on it, and speaking of
Yeah.
Diddy update, I forgot that Cassie, she just had her baby. Cassie Ventura just had
Oh,
a baby,
good. And
and Alex
everybody's
fine, yep.
healthy with a baby. I was so, what's crazy
Yeah.
was the very first thing I thought about when I saw like the first article about her getting on the stand was I knew she was like really far
Mhm.
along. But her and
Right.
her husband live in New York anyways, right? Like, aren't they New York?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they're in
good.
New
So
York.
it's not like she had to travel or anything, but I was so
Mhm.
worried because I knew she was really far along. And this is baby
Same.
number
Oh, I know.
3, right?
Uh-huh. Yep, baby number
Oh
3.
gosh. Oh, that just makes me so happy. And so I'm glad
Me
everybody's
too.
here. Hopefully this
Mhm.
just, I know that was like a really rough testimony for her. I don't even think any of us can begin to understand. And so to
Right.
to have to have such a joyous thing come after probably reliving all of these moments and these dark days, I'm so glad that she has that now and she can just and she's out of it. She's done. She can move on and
Mhm.
uh, and I will say I love all these women right now that we've watched and been such fans of their music and their acting and their artistry, having
Yeah,
amazing babies and their families and
I
like
know.
Rihanna and
Mhm.
baby number 3 and like
I
her.
know.
I'm loving it so much seeing all these women that went through so much, especially with previous partners, and
Mhm.
now have these wonderful supportive men in their lives that are good and strong for them.
It's a silver lining, and it really it gives you hope. It gives you hope when you
I was
give
just
up.
about to say it gives you hope that like, okay, look, there are wonderful men out
Mhm.
there, and we know that. So I know
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
so glad. Okay, good. I'm so glad that she had her baby and everybody's healthy. And they have such a cute family. I'll tell you what, I
Mhm.
mean, I remember one of the first like photos that she posted. That little husband
Mhm.
of hers, he is so handsome. He
He
is a
is.
he is a handsome man. I
Like,
mean,
the
she
last name
deserve a
suits
handsome
him,
man.
right? I'm like, the last name suits him, right, Alex? Fine. His real last I think it is.
I think it really is. I think it's really his real last name. Yeah, I know, right? Because you're just like, well,
No,
he
right.
is fine.
Fittingly appropriate. Oh yeah. Oh boy. Oh. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. And y'all, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Share. Please share this like with your friends, family. We're actually starting to pick up, so I'm super excited. We're getting up there in the algorithm. And don't forget, we're also on Spotify, Apple. And please like give us a review on Apple. Like that would help us out tremendously. If we can get up on the algorithm and Spotify and Apple, that would be awesome too as well. And we also have in our link as well. We've got a buy me a coffee link. So if you want to donate, that's all is welcome as well. But thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night, and I will see y'all on Tuesday. Stay safe, y'all.
Yes.
Bye bye.